Right. Let's talk about coaching. Last week, January 6, 2025, was the first day of the NFL postseason and the unofficial holiday known as Black Monday. Before we get to watch any playoff games, we need to know which head coaches got fired. In total, we know that at least 6 teams will be looking for new sideline talent this spring. Among the most coveted candidates are former Titans head coach Mike Vrabel and current Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson. Will they find jobs? Will they work out? I'm not sure. The NFL is a pretty chaotic league. Anything can happen. Still, I wanted to talk about the state of coaching across pro sports in 2025. In the last few years, we've pretty much accepted that 5 to 8 NFL coaches will lose their jobs per year. We don't really have any Marvin Lewises anymore who cling to that Bengals job for years and years, even after performance stalled and they weren't winning any playoff games. The NBA has it even worse, with tenures rarely exceeding 2 to 4 years, even for proven coaches. We just saw Mike Brown, incredibly respected guy across the league, NBA champion, coach of the year, lose his job from an airport parking lot. Heck, look at the Premier League. Clubs can go through 2 to 4 coaches in the span of one season. So what's going on? What happened to coaching? And look, it didn't used to be like this. Go back in the day and coaches were gods. They were style icons, they had video games, they had endorsements, they had colorful lifestyles. They had it all. But above all, the thing coaches had was power. Franchises were these smaller organizations. Owners were the parochial local rich guy who couldn't spend big on replacements, and so coaches had greater control and security. They decided if athletes lived or died, if players would find themselves stacking silverware or stacking shelves. Add in a lack of guaranteed contracts, dangerous playing conditions, the reserve clause, and you have a scale tilted far in favor of coaches. So what happened? Well, the same thing that changed everything else in pro sports. The big TV money came in during the 1980s and 90s, and everything changed. First with guaranteed money, then with lengthy contracts. The sunk cost of investing millions into a single player inevitably gives them greater power. This was less of an instant change and more of a gradual process. This is coming from Celtics legend Tommy Heinsohn's Give 'Em the Hook. He's talking to Bob Cousy after he lost the Kings job from a falling out with young center Sam Lacey. "Coos," I said, "I didn't know what you were expecting. You guys just signed Sam for some serious dough, didn't you? So obviously he might assume management thinks quite highly of him. And his wife certainly thinks he's great. His mother thinks he's great. His agent thinks he's great. You're the only guy telling him he's not great. So Coos, who do you think he's going to listen to?" That's a story from 1970, but you see cases of it over and over as time goes on. Cousy is this weird middleman between Sam and the game. He came up in a different era with different expectations and less guaranteed money. Something had to give, and Cousy was sent packing. And it's only gotten worse for coaches since. So if that's how players under the coach have changed, what about the guys above them? Sports owners have only gotten wealthier from that TV money, and with that they've gotten less patient. They can afford to pay coaches more and fire them faster. The Raiders are paying at least 3 guys not to coach the team this year, and a 4th one's on the way. In the modern organization, coaches occupy this weird middle role. They aren't on-the-field stars making big plays. They aren't boardroom wizards playing chess, perfecting the roster. They're not iconic as the athlete, and they're certainly not as wealthy as the owner. They're that guy in the hoodie who has to explain to beat reporters on a Tuesday about how it's his fault that his O-line jumped offside 4 times in the same quarter, or that his team traded for an overpaid shooting guard with a no-trade clause. They exist to be blamed, with winning either the work of the players on the field or the GM in the owner's box. And that's what I think coaches kind of are at this point. When you think of the classic coach in your head, he's a leader motivating his men before they do battle. Now I think the coach, even the good ones, are closer to consultants. They're temporary, well-compensated positions that hopefully contribute some good advice and put guys in the right position. If things go bad, they're gone. Coaches are hired to be fired. Do some last for the 5, 10, 15-year runs we expect from the past? Sure, but the fact of the matter is that most teams are hiring coaches knowing they won't make it to the end of their first deal, much less sign a second one. There's also a kind of paradox that keeps this cycle going. It's hard to hire a good coach because the good ones already have jobs. Basically, the only available coaches have either been fired or are brand new and have no experience. So let me explain. I'm a Jets fan. The next few months are going to be all rumors all the time. Who's going to be the new head coach? But I know that Andy Reid isn't walking through that door. Neither is Sean McVay, or Dan Campbell, or Sean McDermott, or any of the other guys with real games left to play. Not only because those guys already have established jobs, but because none of them would give Woody Johnson the time of day. The franchise is a circus, and there are better jobs out there. That means the Jets have to settle for B-level coaches who lose, aren't given proper support, and the wheel keeps turning. So funnily enough, I want Rex Ryan to coach the Jets again. It feels ridiculous to say considering he hasn't coached in years and he feels made for TV, but that's the reason he fits. The Jets are a circus. Rex is a ringmaster. He's the only guy who can navigate a crazy owner, overbearing media, angsty quarterback, and Brick Johnson.